In this video, we're going to be going over how to actually render out your object. We already talked about the render preview. This is going to, again, just be a preview of what you're rendering out, but it won't be the actual image you render out. That gets saved out separately. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is make sure that our render size is correct. And when I say render size, I mean how large is the image that we're going to be kicking out of Modo. So to change that, you have all your settings right here. Again, we're on the render tab. So I'm just going to click this little blue render globe, and a new thing of settings come up over here. If they don't, just look for this little guy right here that says frame. And then right here is another one that says frame. And then we have a width and a height right here. And the render size we want to render it to is going to be 3840 wide by 2160 tall. Hit enter. You can see that it actively updates over here. So before I change this number, we'll just undo that real quick. It originally was 1280 by 720, so like a 720p resolution. We're kicking it up to 4K resolution. So you can see that it's the aspect ratio is really, really wide and then not very tall. And then as soon as I change the height, it updates over here accordingly. So now as far as just our initial settings, there's a bunch more render settings we can change, but we're just going to keep it really simple for now. So the only other things we'd want to be sure of is make sure that our lighting is correct. We already adjusted our lighting, and now it would just be, do we have the right camera angle that we want? So I'm going to go ahead and just do kind of a standard 3/4 camera angle, maybe a bit of an angle. Again, you can kind of put your camera wherever you want, just that best shows off your chessboard and the pieces. So we'll do something like this. And then again, I want to make sure like all this area right here is just going to be empty area. I want to make sure that I don't have it zoomed in so far that a portion, like the corner here, of my board is getting cut off. I want to make sure the whole thing is in there and it doesn't have to take up the full space, but again, it's just taking up a good amount of space. I don't want to have a little tiny render like this and have it way over here where this is all wasted space. Again, I don't want to have it so big that parts are getting cropped off like this. I just want to have my whole board at a good angle where I can see everything. And the other thing I can be mindful of is I have the edge of the board right here. And now I can see the angle that it's at compared to the angle of my frame. If I want this to be straight, just a little trick I can do is just line up my rotation or my orbiting of the camera with this line here, and then hold Control and Shift and just pan up a little bit. Now I have kind of safe borders all the way around, and my object's pretty straight. But again, you don't have to have it straight. You can have it at an angle one way or another. So we'll make it at an angle like this. Next, let's actually change our light real quick. So again, going to the directional light. I just want to make sure that it kind of complements things pretty well. So now the light and the camera are both around the corner down here. So we're going to call this good. So now when we want to actually render this out, there's a render menu right here. And we want to click this render button right here. And this will take a little bit because again, it is a larger render, but you see it does it in kind of passes where it does like a rough pass, and then it does a finer pass. And then after that, it's even going to do a finer detail pass where it goes in and renders everything out. So again, when you're doing this, your computer might heat up a little bit, your fans are going to kick on, and you can see these little orange boxes. So in the background areas are going to move really fast because there's really nothing there. And then the areas where there's more geometry and whatnot, they'll slow down a little bit. So I'll speed up the video, and then we'll get back when the render's done. Okay, the render's almost done. You can see the progress right here, 100%. And done. So the render is now done. There is some image processing stuff I can do over here, but realistically I'm just going to save that for Photoshop. So right now I'm going to hit Save Image. And what I want to do is I want to actually save this out as a PNG image. And when I do that, all this background area right here, it just won't have any pixels there. So let's just call this chess render 01. Save it as a PNG, and I'll just throw it on my desktop so it's easy to find. So now, just for fun, I'm going to get a few other renders, maybe some close-ups, so I can kind of see multiple pieces at once. And this could be something that, if you really wanted to, just adjust this light a little bit. There we go. If you really wanted to, you could like have this mid-game, or have like the king laying down or whatever, like one team one. But we'll just do something like this and go ahead and render this out. And again, this will take a little bit, so I'll stop the video. Okay, this render is done now, so I can go ahead and save it out. The other thing I wanted to point out is it actually saves your renders in a temporary location. So if this image, if I saved it out, and let's say the color was wrong or something like that, what I could do is over here, this output color space, there's not going to be any for mine. But for yours, if you save your image out and it's like really, really light and it doesn't look like this render preview did, you can just come into here and change this guy to linear, save that back out, and you'll be good to go. So again, I'm just going to go to this one, haven't saved it out yet. So I'll just name it chessrender02.png. Let it do its thing. And at this point, we're kind of all set. We're ready to composite these in Photoshop. So again, that's what we'll do in the next video.